Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about cuttings, and I'm going to show you how to easily do cuttings, what to expect, what you need, and how to know if you were successful and how to continue the process after your cuttings take. So I have two plants here that I got on sale, of course, from Lowe's for $1 each. I have this is a false Aralia. These are one of my favorite plants. Probably they're so cool. And the stems, it's gonna be kind of hard to see. They're like different colors and speckled, and the leaves are just really unique, and they'll get tall. And then I have this Croton also, and these are really cool. There's a lot of different varieties, and they're all like these colors, like green, of course, and then red, yellow, orange, and I actually have 3 different varieties of these, but this is the one that I'm going to be taking cuttings from today. Okay, so the main things that you need are a small pot. You don't need anything really big, basically just big enough for the stem to fit down into, because once the cutting takes, you're probably going to be transplanting it anyways, and even if you weren't, there's still room for the roots to grow. The roots will be starting from the bottom of your cutting, either from the bottom of the stem or from a leaf node that is in the soil. So I'm going to be doing stem cuttings today. There are different ways that you can do cuttings, lots of different methods. There's other methods of propagation. This is one of my favorite asexual ways of propagation. So I'm like a propagating crazy head. Like, I love trying things out, trying to propagate things that people tell me I can't propagate, or trying different ways. And I love taking cuttings of things, and also I'm very intrigued by cross-pollination and germinating things from seed. So I really love sexual and asexual propagation and just kind of experimenting with it. So this is one of my favorite things to do, actually, is just propagating things. I just like go crazy propagating everything. So I'm really excited to show you this, and I hope some of you can make use of it and do some of this on your own. So I have this small pot. This is like a 3-inch pot, and I have it filled with soil already. And then I also have a saucer for it to go into. Now, the saucer is not necessary, but it's really helpful because you cannot have the soil dry out. If your soil dries out at any point, your cuttings are gonna be less likely of succeeding. So you need to make sure your soil is moist, and that's easy to do by using a saucer, because any water that falls through will be caught, and then you can overwater and there will be a little bit left in the bottom here. So when the soil dries out, it will suck back up from the saucer, so it takes a lot longer to dry out, and you'll catch it easier if you use a saucer. You also need a sharp, clean knife or trimmers. I just have these sharp little pruners. These ones are really small and nice to get in, like, in plants. They're not big and bulky, so I like these ones for doing cuttings, or a knife. I use a knife sometimes too. This isn't necessary for all cuttings, but if you have something like this Croton and false Aralia that I have, you're gonna need rooting hormone. Things like this that have more hardwood stems, or just aren't as herbaceous, they most likely will need some kind of rooting hormone in order to propagate them this way. It just depends on the plant. A lot of plants don't need it, and you can do this in water too. That's a good way to kind of experiment. Then you can watch it and you get a good idea for how it will work. Instead of using soil, you can use a vase and just take a cutting and stick it in the vase. But I don't like to do that most of the time. Some plants are really easy to propagate that way, so that's how I do it. But the easiest way that I do it is with rooting hormone. This one is Fast Root by Miracle Grow. This is just a powder. It comes in liquid too, but I use the rooting hormone powder. And it will just look like that. It's white and very fine. It's like finer than flour. If you like tip it or anything, like a cloud of white is gonna come out. So you don't want to spill it. But so yeah, that's what I'm gonna be using as well. I have never used the liquid kind before. If you have that, go ahead, experiment, let me know how it goes. But I'm gonna use the powder today. So we'll start out with this false Aralia, and when you're taking a stem cutting, you want a good portion of the stem. So I'm just gonna single out this tall one because it's easy to see right now, but you want like at least an inch of stem, probably a little bit more, and you also want at least one leaf node on the stem. I like to get at least 2 or 3. Normally I go for 2. So like on this stem, I know it's hard to see because there's like several stems in this one pot, but on this one I would cut it about right here, and then you would have a node here and here where these little leaves are coming off, and you would rip these off so that the node is exposed, and then dip it in the powder and stick it in the soil. It's really, really simple once you get the hang of it. So when you're choosing a stem to cut off, you also want to make sure it's healthy and it has new growth on it. If it's all dried up on the ends or it has pest issues or anything like that, you don't want to use that because the chances of it taking are going to be a lot lower, and it's going to take longer too. If it starts growing and it gets some roots on it, it's going to take longer to come out of the struggles it's having. So you want to go for healthier stems. So I'm going to make a cut here. So this is what I cut off, and I'm going to take off the bottom 2 leaves on this, okay? So I have the bottom one here. I'm just going to rip it off, or if you have a knife you can cut it off too. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm gonna take off the second lowest one too, which is over here. Pluck that guy off. So then I have some bare stem at the bottom of this, and then let's see. So right here is a leaf node, that little white spot right there. That's where I just ripped the leaf off of, and that's where new roots are gonna come from. So when I take my rooting powder, I'm just gonna dip it in there, and you want to make sure you get the nodes covered in the powder because this is going to help them root. That's where the roots will come from. So you want to get the nodes doused in this powder. So you'll take it out and you'll see it's kind of white. And then all you do is you stick it in the soil so the nodes are all submerged in the soil, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with this croton now too. So this one's kind of a weird shape because it lost some leaves here, but that's going to be okay because I'm going to pluck these bottom ones off anyways. And this one's easier to see. So see, I have these nice healthy leaves on top, and here's the point of growth. And then these older ones down at the bottom, and these ones are really close together, so that's nice. So I'm just going to pluck the bottom 2 off. I normally go for the bottom 2 unless there's like, unless it's a long stem with really close together nodes, then I'll rip off like 5 or whatever, but so I have those ripped off now, and you can see there's the new node that I just ripped off, and then you can see old ones too that are scabbed over from leaves that fell off. Those aren't gonna root, they're all scabbed over already. You need the new wounds to root. So again, I'm just gonna dip that in the powder. Make sure it's covered. And you'll see it sticks to the node. See, there's a node right there, and then there's a node right there. So the powder sticks to the nodes because it's kind of sappy and wet. So then again, I'm just going to stick it in so the nodes are beneath the soil a ways. Just like that. And normally I wouldn't do like random cuttings all in one pot because they're going to root at different rates. I'm just doing this for the sake of the video. At this point, you want to water it in really good. So I'm just going to water it, make sure the soil is saturated until it starts coming out the bottom. And you can see here there's water in this tray now. So that's good. So now we also want to cover the top because that will help keep in moisture too, and it also helps keep the temperature up. It's basically just building a little greenhouse for this container. I'm just gonna carefully put this over the top, and then I have this marker here to prop it up. Sometimes I'll use like a wooden dowel, but this was all I had right now. So actually I should put this the other way maybe. And then you can use string or whatever you have, but I like to use rubber bands. They keep it nice and tight and they stick to the saran wrap really well also. So there, just like that. So it's all sealed in now, and you'll probably start to see some condensation up on the top of this. That's good. That means you have it sealed in good. All the moisture is going to be staying in there. So I have the water in the bottom. So now I'm probably not going to have to water it for a while again. If I do notice that it's getting dry, instead of taking the whole top off, I can just water in the bottom of this saucer and get some extra water in there, and it will soak right back up into the pot. It's like a wick kind of. So that's another plus to using the saucer on the bottom. You don't have to take off all this wrap and redo it when you have to water this. So I'll just let this sit now. The Crotons take about 4 weeks. The Aralia might be a little bit longer, but they're like, these are some solid stem cuttings. When these plants are big, they're pretty woody. These are some thicker stems, so they'll take longer to root. And it also helps if you keep this in as much light as possible. So like this, I'm gonna put it right in my south facing window, but not where it's gonna be like touching the window and really cold. I'll have to put it on a plant stand next to the window. So you wanna try and keep it warm, and you wanna give it a lot of light, and it cannot dry out. If it dries out, the chances are gonna be really, really low that your cuttings are gonna root. Would you like to see? I'm going to set this aside for a month or two, and then I'll come back to it, and then I will show you now with another pot how to check when your cuttings are ready. I have these lime cuttings that I took 3 months ago actually, and I love propagation, as I said earlier, and I also love citrus. I have on the shelf behind me, you can't really see, but I have a bunch of little orange trees that I've started from seed, and different stratification processes for the seeds. So I kind of was doing an experiment with that. I just love experimenting with all types of propagation. So at my old job, there were a lot of lime and a couple lemon trees. And anytime I like pruned them or was just basically doing any work from them, I would save the new growth that I had to cut off, and I would try to take cuttings from it. And I was never successful. And everyone told me, they don't work with cuttings. The internet told me they don't work with cuttings. You have to propagate from seed or from like air layering or something like that. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna make it work. Eventually it's gonna work. It has to work. I'm gonna do it. Like, I've propagated so many things in so many different ways. I was like bound and determined to make this work. So I took these cuttings 3 months ago. They're not wilted or anything. They still have new growth points on them. I haven't had to water them at all, and they're still wet. So like, I have this thing on there tight, and it wasn't sitting in anything. I haven't had to water it at all. I don't know how. I think I've only taken this cover off once in the last 3 months actually, to kind of see how the soil was doing, but besides that, I haven't messed with it. It's just been sitting here doing nothing, and there's a little fruit fly stuck in here. So now I'm going to take off the cover and see if they rooted. And I kind of think they did, since they've been in here for 3 months and they haven't gotten wilty or anything. They have to have roots. I'm like really nervous and also really excited. Like, I've been looking at this every day sitting in my window. I'm like, oh, I just want to take it off. I just want to take it off. But I keep holding myself back. It's like baking. Like, every time you're baking something, you want to open it up and check if it's done, but then when you open the door, it lets out all the heat, and then it has to like heat up again. This is kind of the same thing. Like, I want to keep opening it and like tugging on them and seeing if they've taken, but then that just like disrupts it and just lowers the chances of them rooting. So I've had to hold myself back from checking this, but I'm super excited. So I'm just going to take this off. This is super old and gross because it's been on there for 3 months. So here you can see I have little wooden dowels in here holding that up. I'm so nervous. I don't want to touch it. I'm so scared. Okay, so this is what you do when you're checking your cuttings. You want to grab the stem where it's like kind of towards the bottom. Like, you don't want to rip off any leaves or anything. So you want to grab the stem and just gently pull it up. And if there's any resistance, then it's probably rooted or at least started. You can kind of tell if it's like really in there, you're fine to transplant it. But if it like has a little bit of resistance but still kind of wants to come up, I would just leave it for a couple weeks and let the roots really develop a little bit more before you take it out and transplant it. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna test it. Guys, I did it. Oh, that one, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, there's definitely roots on 2 of them. I think I'm just gonna dump it out and see what's in there. I am so scared. This is like ridiculous. This is the most irrational fear ever right now. This is so scary. I'm gonna be so upset if they don't have roots yet and I just ruin the whole thing by taking them out. You can tell these were in there for a long time. There's so much fungus and stuff growing on these wooden dowels. And the soil is still just soaking wet. Oh my god. Yeah, there's a lot of fungus on there. Gross. I'm so scared. I don't want to dump it out and ruin it, but I need to see. Oh my god, this is horrible. It's like... I don't even know what to compare this to. Like, I'm so scared. If I dump this out right now and there are no roots, I completely ruined this entire thing, and I just blew my chances of having some lime trees in my apartment. But I need to see if I did it. If I did it, screw the world, screw the internet, screw everyone. I'm the queen of propagation. Don't talk to me. Here we go. I'm scared. I'm so scared right now. I don't even want to look. This is terrifying. Oh god, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. This is a mistake. Oh god. Oh, I see roots. I see roots. I see roots. I see roots. Oh my god. 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 I am so excited right now. Okay. Remember, if you're someone who's done this before and who's like also into plants and propagation, I propagated these the same way that I just showed you how to on that Croton and Aralia. Same way. These were just stem cuttings off of a lime tree, okay? Oh my god, I see roots. Big, healthy roots. Oh my god, I am freaking out right now. These walls in my apartment are super, super thin. Like, I can hear my neighbors all the time. And they are probably, I hope they're not home. They're probably like, this chick is a psychopath. What the hell is she doing? I just vacuumed yesterday. Why did that have to happen? Oh, shoot. Okay, this little guy just fell out. He doesn't have any roots, but look at what happened here. It's going to be really hard to see because this is so small, but oh yeah, it doesn't want to focus. The bottom of this stem, it's not rotted. It actually healed over, and it's just kind of preserving the stem like this. See, it's not wilted or anything. It still looks perfectly fine, but the end is healed over. And I've experienced that a lot in citrus. I've done like air layering, cleft grafting, T-grafts. I've done a lot of grafting and stuff on citrus trees, and I experience this all the time. They heal over and scab really, really easily, so it's kind of hard to propagate them that way, actually, because you have to have something separating the 2 pieces that you like sliced open or whatever way you did it. You have to have something separating them really far away from each other, or they will just like swell and grow back together. So citrus trees heal over and scab really, really easily, and that's what happened on the end of this one cutting. It just sealed over the bottom, and this is fine now. But I mean, honestly, I could just cut it again up here and rip off this leaf and try it again with the cutting, and I probably will. I don't want to throw this away. It's perfectly fine. Let's see what the one that just fell on the ground looks like. It looks bad. Okay, yeah, this one did the same thing. It still looks perfectly fine, but the bottom is scabbed over. So those 2 I'll save and I'll redo them. I know one of these 2, I think these were the 2 that I thought took. I know one of them did because I can see roots. I am freaking out right now. This is just like not even okay. This is insane. I don't know what to do. What am I gonna tell my friends and my family when I am rich off of propagating lime trees? I don't know. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay, I'm scared to pull this one apart. That one's really big. Okay, this guy right here, this little tiny guy, he has some massive roots. I don't want to pull all of this apart because I don't want to break the roots, but I can kind of show you. Oh, see, they're really white. There's this one sticking out right there. And then there's one, let's see. I'm spilling dirt all over my carpet right now. Okay, and then see, there's a couple roots right here on the edge, and then that big one right there. And the stem probably only goes to right here. So you know there's some big roots in there. So this guy, I'm just gonna leave this root ball all together like this because I do not want to break these off. Okay, see, I just broke a little. I didn't break the roots, I just broke some of the soil off so it's not up around the stem like that. Okay, so here's one successful cutting. I am so excited. Oh God. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna stop messing with it. I'm just gonna put it down. I'm so excited. Oh my God. Now I need to find a cute container to plant it in. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? Okay, first let's see if this one has roots on it. The soil is staying together and it didn't move when I tugged on it, so I feel like there should be roots, but I don't see any. Okay, that just came off. Okay, maybe this one doesn't have roots. Oh, it does have roots. Oh shoot, no it doesn't. Oh yeah, it does. Oh, it's just starting a little tiny one. Okay, this is really odd. So like those other two, this one scabbed over on the bottom, but then there must have been a leaf node right here on the side, because see, it's sending off a little tiny root right there on the side. So this one, what I'm gonna do actually is I'll probably take my knife and nick the other side of it and put it in Hormone again and then replant it with the other ones just to make sure it does develop roots, because I don't trust this one little one to just plant it in a regular pot right now. So I'm gonna plant the one that took right now. Actually, I am freaking out. I am so excited. This is awesome. I'm gonna use this. This is a little baking dish from the Pioneer Women line at Walmart. It's really cute. They have really cute little ceramic stuff, and I love planting in them because they're just like, I don't know, they're so cute. I love them. So I'm gonna plant my little lime in this. Let me grab some fresh soil. So for everyone wondering, Nugget, don't do that. Just trying to eat my fresh cuttings. Nugget has not eaten my frog yet. She really loves to watch her. She sits by her terrarium pretty much all day and just stares in there and waits for her to move. Even though she's like, the frog is like nocturnal, she hunts at night and then just sleeps during the day. She sits in the same spot behind a leaf every day, all like during the daytime. So Nugget sits there and looks for her, and she's so confused because the frog like blends into this green leaf and Nugget can't see her, but she knows that she's in there. So she sits in front of this thing all day and just stares in there waiting for her to move, and she doesn't. Nugget, down. Good girl. So yeah, it's entertaining just to watch Nugget watch the frog. But my frog is still alive. Nugget has not killed her yet. Yeah, it's entertaining. So I got some fresh soil in my little pot for my lime. When you're transplanting fresh cuttings like this, you want to be super, super gentle. These roots are going to be really, really fragile. They'll be really full of water and fleshy kind of, but really, really fragile. They'll snap off super easily. So you don't want to be putting it in there and like packing it down really hard with your hands. You just want to be, gentle. So I'm just gonna dig a little hole in here and plop it down. Not plop it, don't plop it. Just gently set it in there right in the middle of my pot like that. And I'm not gonna pack it down at all. I'm just gonna kind of even out the dirt around it. And then I'm just gonna water it in and let the water do the settling of the soil, not my fingers. So since I'm using this little baking dish, it doesn't have any drainage holes in it. In this case, that's okay though, because this cutting is brand new. It's just a tiny little plant. I do not want it to dry out, because if it dries out, it's gonna die. It's just, I've experienced a lot with my citrus that I've started from seed with young citrus plants. If they dry out, once they drop a leaf, they're dead. Like, you cannot let them dry out. So I'm okay with not having drainage holes on here, because I know it's probably not going to dry out. I water my plants like every 2 days about. I mean, I have so many different plants. Like, you can see some of my plants behind me. I have so many different plants. They all have different watering requirements, but like every other day basically I'm watering. So this guy will be fine with no drainage holes. So there is my first little lime tree cutting. I am so excited. This is freaking crazy. I can't even handle this. I am so excited. Oh my god. If I kill this, I'm going to cry. I'm gonna quit school. I'm going to move to a beach somewhere and never talk to anyone ever again. And if Nugget kills that thing, she's going to the pound. Enough said. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, actually, I'm just gonna take the same pot that my lime cuttings were in and the same soil. I'm just gonna put it back in there because it doesn't really matter if there's like nutrients and stuff in the soil. It's just a substance to hold all the water together so that there's something moist for the roots to get started in. Oh, I just almost spilled this entire thing on my carpet. I've been living here for a couple weeks and I've already spilled so much soil on my carpet. Like every other day I feel like there's soil being spilled on my carpet from either me or Nugget. Nugget's really bad. Nugget spills most of it, honestly. I have to lock her in the bedroom with me at night because if she could just like roam free in my entire apartment while I was sleeping, all of my plants would be eaten, tipped over, drug across the room, or just clawed to death. Like I would leave her out here for one night and all my plants would be dead. So I don't do that. Let me grab my knife real quick. Gonna go back in with the ones that didn't take. So what I'm gonna do is just cut off by the nearest leaf node. So I'll cut right here. This is like really hard for me to show you. I'll cut right here-ish, and then this will all be cut off. So you can definitely tell the stem is a little dehydrated. And then I'll rip off the bottom leaf. I love the smell of citrus. It smells like Fruity Pebbles. Or not, Fruit Loops. It smells like Fruit Loops. Okay, in the powder and then into the soil. And then this is the one that has the little root coming off of it right there. So I'm just gonna nick the other side of it. I'm not gonna cut off the stem at all. I'm just gonna nick the bottom of the stem so that there's live flesh exposed again, and then I'll dip that, but I'm not gonna cut off the root. I'm gonna try not to, at least. If I cut off this root, I'm gonna be really upset. Okay, so you can see that it's kind of notched on the bottom there. See, I like shaved off some of the outside right there, so like the cambium layer, and I cut into that, and then the little root is on the opposite side. So I'm just gonna dip that into this powder and then stick that in there too. And then this one is the same story as the first. I'm just gonna cut it off up here by the nearest leaf node. And then rip off the bottom leaf and dip it in the rooting hormone, making sure that you get rooting hormone on the leaf node that you just exposed. So put those in there now. I'm going to put my dowels back in to help brace up the saran wrap so it doesn't smash down these cuttings. I'm gonna give this a little bit of water first. The soil's already really wet, but I just want it to kind of settle. You can see Nugget, look at her. She's just eyeing up these plants. I'm gonna take my rubber band and seal it all in. That's a lot. Okay, there. So I have my little greenhouse effect going now. So I have 3 in here now. I'll let this sit for a while. I'll probably let it sit a month and then check it a little bit and then go from there. So when you're doing this process, hopefully you'll end up with a finished product like this. And as this gets bigger, I'll transplant it, and then it will be a 10-foot tree in my apartment in 20 years. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions about stem cuttings, you can let me know. I'll try and answer them. I'll try and do videos on other types of propagation too. I don't have anything else that I can really propagate right now, I guess, but once some of my plants get a little bit bigger, or if something kind of falls into my lap, I'll do a video on it. But for now, this is kind of the only propagation that I could do. So it's my favorite though, one of my favorites besides sexual propagation. But so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and then ring the bell so that you can get notifications. I will see you next week in the next video. Bye.